For our access control systems, we can either use centralized or decentralized access control, or a combination of the two. They both provide unique advantages and disadvantages, and they make the decisions comparing credentials to an access control list. I swipe my card, I type in the access code on the keypad, or I use my fingerprint as the authenticator, then it checks against the access control list, is Thor allowed in this room? If I am, it grants me access. If not, it doesn't. And they are most commonly in the hub and spoke or star topology, just like over here on the right. You can see the door contact, the door lock, the exit button are all connected to the reader, which then connects to a PC or most often a switch or main control panel. And most of them today are based on role-based access control. If Thor is part of the server team, he has access to the server room. But they can also use attribute-based access control. Remember, that's the one where you also use attributes. Meaning if Thor is not on the server team, then he wouldn't have access. But if he's the project manager on a project for the server team, then he might. So in my role as a project manager, I may not have access. No other project managers do. But if I get assigned a project in a data center for the server team, then I would have. And this image here over on the right is kind of a tiny version of how access control systems actually look. All the access control readers are connected to a switch, which is connected to the access control server, and there would often be hundreds and hundreds. And since they're dispersed out through our environment, it is very common just to have them on their own VLAN, but be connected to the regular access switches we have throughout the organization. As you see right over here on the right, in perfect world, they would be segmented off on their own, both physical and logical network. In most cases in the real world, this does not happen. So let's look at some of the cons and the pros of decentralized versus centralized access control systems. And centralized just really means that all the decisions are made at a centralized point. If we have 10 facilities, then most likely our main facility would house the access control servers, and the other 9 facilities will connect to that one every time it needs to make a decision. And the pros of that, every single system and every single location would have the same security posture, because it's decided centrally. It's also much easier to manage. We have that consistency at every location we have, because everything refers back to the same policies. If we have a small satellite office that doesn't follow that posture, there would be the weak link in our chain, and that's where the attacker would focus. Centralized is also more secure, because only very few people have access to the system. It also provides separation of duties, meaning the employees at a satellite location can't log in and change the access rights for their system. And if we have it centralized, it also makes it easier to use SSO or single sign-on, where you can access multiple applications or multiple systems just with one login. And then the centralized cons, what's not so good about it. If our remote locations does not have a very good internet connection, or there is high latency between that and the main office, instead of the user authenticating in near real time, it can take seconds or tens of seconds. And what if the internet connection is not stable? Is everything we have on our access control system on redundant power? As you can see here, the centralized pros are pretty much the decentralized cons and in reverse. And to help with the delay, help with the latency to our main site, or to prevent one site being orphaned if the internet is down, we would most often use hybrid access control systems, meaning everything happens centralized. All the design, all the policies, all the permissions are set at our main location. But once every hour, every half hour, every 10 minutes, or every day, the primary site pushes the access control lists to a server on the satellite facility, and the local administrators do not have access to that server. And then every access control reader points to the local system, meaning if the internet connection to the main site goes down, it doesn't matter for that site, at least for the access control, because every door in that facility points back to the local server. Here again, we need to make sure that their security posture is as strong as ours. Even if they use our access control, what if their physical security is bad? What if the rest of their logical security is bad? Think of this how both the walls, the windows, and the doors had to be equally strong. Since the walls are naturally more strong, we need to add stuff to the windows and the doors to make them just as strong. This is the same thing. Every single office we have should be equally secure, because if they're not, as you know, the attacker will find that weak link and exploit it.